What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first ever edition of the Dream Nation podcast. I'm your host, Shane Patrick Cruz, and the Dream Nation podcast is where we explore the stories and influences behind people's dreams and aspirations and goals. Today, for the first ever edition of Dream Nation podcast, I'm with my good buddy, Anthony. Anthony, please introduce yourself to everyone. Tell everyone who you are, what your business is, and what you guys offer here, because you guys offer some cool stuff.
Yeah. So my name's Anthony Mijares. I'm the owner of Signscapes Incorporated. We are a sign company here in Richmond, Virginia. We offer an array of products. So we do indoor signage, outdoor signage. We also do car advertising wraps. And we also offer apparel and promotion products. But what's unique about our sign shop, we actually do everything in-house as far as the indoor and outdoor signage. We also do the vehicle advertising wraps. We are 12,000 square feet, so we're kind of a big sign shop here in Richmond that could fit a large array from small vehicles to tractor trailers. We've had several in here at one time, all in a secure spot. And then, like I said, we do everything in-house. There isn't really too much that we outsource.
Yeah, this place is cool. I mean, you got to come down here just sometime and say what's up to Anthony and just like look at the stuff that, because they've got some vehicles in the bays out here that they've done some wraps on. They got some cool stuff out here. And your walls too have like things on them too that like people could do for businesses or a house or whatever. They've done. You guys did one of the vinyl banners for a show I did 2 years ago at the Westin. They did the banner for that. It was super, super nice. I wish I could continue using it, but it's only for one show.
Right.
Good for you, but not for me. But that's okay. I love the banner. I'm thinking about hanging all the banners when I actually get a big place, like hanging all the banners like on the wall or something.
Kind of like retiring a jersey.
Yeah, that's right. My glory days, I'll be able to look back. Also, too, to give you guys a heads up, like. These are going to be pretty raw, right? Like, there's probably going to be some cussing. If you don't like that, fuck it. Sorry. Don't watch. But I hope you do watch. And sorry to my Instagram people. If you don't like that, turn it off. That's just who we are. So, what is the Dream Nation podcast? So, the Dream Nation podcast basically boiled out of two questions that I had years ago. Question number one, what were people's dreams when they were little? Like, 5 to 10ish. So like basically what did you want to be when you grew up, right? That's question number one. Question number two is, what is your dream now? And then what is the story in between those two things? Why did you keep the same dream, or why is your dream changed? Right, and then the questions and the answers, the answers to those two questions, and then ultimately, because it really all it boils down to influence. All you guys know that I'm a professional magician and psychological illusionist and speaker, and so I speak about and perform with the basis of influence all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so really, when you boil these two questions down, it really boils down to what has influenced your life one way or the other, right?
Right.
So. Let's deal with that first question.
Okay.
When you were like 5 to 10 years old, what was your dream when you wanted to grow up?
I think most boys want to be firefighters or police officers.
Yeah.
That kind of action type of dream. I wanted to be a teacher.
Did you really?
Yeah.
What kind of teacher?
I didn't know.
Really?
Yeah.
You just wanted to be a teacher?
Well,
Why?
it's either like physical ed, towards that kind of being a teacher.
Yeah.
I just felt a closeness, and I liked how they helped people, and I liked interacting with other people. I've been always a people person.
Yeah.
I moved around a lot when I was a kid, so
Did you?
I was always in different schools. Just about every year, I was in a different school.
Why were you in a different school every year?
Just the environment that I was living in. So my mom was single at the time,
Yeah.
and then so we kind of moved around a lot.
Yeah.
Just trying to find our place in our home, and then when she got married to my stepdad, he worked for the military. He wasn't in the military, but he worked for the military.
Gotcha.
So, we moved around a couple times. And it was just a part of me growing up, and which at first I didn't like it, but then I grew accustomed to it, and it helped me to learn to adapt in every situation.
Yeah.
So I was always good at making friends.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed interacting with people, and I think that's what gave me the love, or what my dream of wanting to be was to be a teacher to help others.
Yeah. Did you have one particular teacher that helped fuel that dream too, or was it just because of what you just said, just moving around and meeting a bunch of people and adapting and all that?
I don't think it was just one teacher. I've had a couple good teachers in my life that made some sort of effect on me, but I think it was just the moving around and interacting with different people.
Gotcha. And now you own a sign business.
Yeah. So that's kind of far away from the dream, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's not so much far away from my dream. And,
So what is the dream now then?
the dream has still stayed. I never thought it was so far as being a teacher, which I still am today. I mentor, starting businesses.
Right.
I talk to kids, I talk to adults, I talk to veterans all the time about starting a business. People always come by and say, hey, how did you do that? Not only just other businesses, but also mentoring within my niche company that I have. So it's always been about helping others. I just so happen to find the niche market that I love and in signage, and I just happen to be very fortunate to have started my own company and become successful.
Yeah.
And everybody's success is different. My success is being happy in what I do and still be supportive of my family, being able to take care of my kids, still being able to provide as a father, and also provide for myself and still be happy. That's my success.
Yeah.
And I can still do what I want to do.
Yeah. Now, how did you start the business though? Well, first of all, how did you come across signs? Is it one of those things where you just looked at it, okay, like this seems like to be a pretty legitimate business, seems pretty cool, or like how did you get into actually starting a sign business?
So I'm a disabled vet. I did 8 years in the Army as a combat medic.
Thank you for your service.
Well,
yeah.
thank you. So you would think that I would come out and continue in the medical field, but I was just so burnt out when I got out of the military. I did several tours. I traveled all over the world, and it was still within my dream. If you look at that I was still helping people.
Yeah.
And I've always been fascinated in just helping others. I've always had such a big heart. When I got out of the military, I was very lost. I know I didn't want to go back to medical field. I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I was in many fields. I did production. I did manager of different types of retail stores. I started several different businesses. But how I came into the sign industry is I did sales for a sign company here in Richmond. They're no longer in business, but it was called Signorama. They're actually a franchise. So I started doing sales in the sign business, and that's how I kind of got started into the sign industry. I partnered up with I worked there for a couple years. I was always very interested in it, and I liked going into business, talking to different customers, helping them out as far as getting their brand seen. And then about a year later, I ended up working for another sign company, ended up becoming a partner, and that's when I really started to learning the back end of the sign industry, how to produce, how to design. I ended up going to ECPI University, getting a degree so that I could further myself in business and learning more about graphic design. And so once that happened, I ended up starting my own sign company. And
How long ago was that?
that was probably I'd probably say about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I started my first sign company, Blueprint Signing Design, and I ran that successfully for 5 years, but it was a long 5 years. It was kind of more of a side job,
Yeah.
and I had a main job, and I was just, doing signs on the side or either doing other businesses or starting other businesses, and my signs were just a steady flow of income on the side.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I'd probably say 3 years ago where it was starting to be able to have an income where I could, maintain myself and not have to have other side jobs.
Yeah.
And then just last year, I bought one of my friendly competitors.
Yeah.
And now I have Signscapes, which pretty much tripled my income and also profit margins as well. So, it's been a long journey to where I'm at.
What influenced you to? I'm going to interrupt you on purpose, right? So, what influenced you to say, right. To say back then, like, I'm going to take the leap and buy this big business that I know, on one hand, it's going to triple my income,
Right.
but it's also a huge undertaking,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what influenced you to say, you know what, I'm just going to go for it?
Yeah, so I was to be honest, I was very scared to make that jump. This was offered to me 2 years ago, and I turned it down initially because I was running just a single business where I was running it out of my home. I made great amount of money. I got to do whatever I wanted to do, but at the end of the day,
No overhead. Well, not a low, not a low overhead. Yeah.
Right. But at the end of the day, I was working for my business. My business was not working for me. So if anything happened to me, that was it. That was it of my income. Of course, my disability pay, but that's very small.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like I wasn't leaving anything for my kids. I wasn't leaving anything behind if something happened to me. And that's very scary.
Yeah.
I started looking, instead of the micro, I started looking at the macro. Like, what's going to happen like in 10, 20 years? Am I still going to be in my house still producing these signs and just being okay?
Yeah.
You know, is this really making me happy in the long term? And I saw that it wasn't.
So you were pretty. I think it's a spot a lot of people get into where they're comfortable.
Content. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're content where they're at.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're like things are good. I mean, yeah, they could be better, but I mean, they're good. I'm earning some money.
Yeah.
You know, I got some free time to
Right.
myself. But yeah, I think a lot of people they fall into that sense of just complacency,
Right.
right? And it's not a whole lot of people are influenced on one way or the other. A lot of people think that it's the external influences or what the big factor is. Really, it's more so the internal influences of you actually mentally deciding, you know what, I'm tired of being complacent.
Right.
We need to step out and do something.
Yeah. So, it took me a full year to think about it. And finally, I was like, you know what? I got to do this.
Yeah.
If I don't do this now, I'll probably lose this opportunity. And because a lot of opportunities don't happen like that to people. You know, sometimes people are complacent because sometimes the timing's wrong. Right?
Right.
So a lot of people gain success because of timing. And hard work. You have to get to a certain place and you have to network. Like if you don't network, like you're not gonna grow in any situation.
Yeah.
You will just not. And good thing I was networking. I was doing some installs for them. So it from me networking and being able to do installs, I would have never gotten this opportunity.
Right.
So, and I just had to make that jump. I basically emptied out my bank account. I paid my bills and I emptied out my bank account and I put the deposit down. I said, I'll buy it.
Yeah. Now, one of the other things I'm curious about from these two questions of, what the dream is as a kid, what it is now. You said you had a single mom. I also grew up with a single mom. My dad passed away when I was 7, and she never remarried, and so I'm always very curious of I'll just ask you, was your mom always supportive of you, like saying, hey, let's go for whatever you want to do, like I'll fully support you? Or was she like kind of like, because when I started my first business, my mom was like, every week would be like, did you apply for another job? I'm like, no, I didn't, because I'm not going back to a job.
Right.
Yeah. And so, I mean, she ultimately was very supportive, right? But she was just in that mentality that the 9 to 5 was just the way to be. Like, how was your mom growing up and then during all that?
Right. So my mom got remarried when I was around about 10.
Yeah.
And my stepdad's pretty much been in my life. Of course, they got divorced, but he's still part of my life. He's actually adopted me, so I take
Very
his last
cool.
name. So my dad's been very successful at what he does, and he's a very smart man. But to go back to what you're saying,
Do you think he was as much more of an influence?
He has, yes, he was an influence. He has been an influence,
Yeah.
and it's more of the hardworking type of influence.
Because you said you were 10 years old when he came
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
So you had a lot of your life to actually see him,
right,
and be influenced by
right.
him.
He,
Yeah,
he was always
yeah.
a very hard worker. He was always reading books. He always had a library, So, but I was never a reader, and I didn't become a reader till later. But he was very smart. Anytime I asked him a question, he would always have an answer for it, or hold on, let me find it.
Yeah.
I picked up a lot of those traits from him,
Yeah.
especially the hardworking part. My mom was always adventurous, and she was very hardworking, especially being a single mother. And then when they got divorced, I was still at a young age, so she was working a lot. So I was always at home with either a babysitter or either watching my brother. So she worked a lot of jobs. So when it became my time to be an entrepreneur, or what I felt where I was ready to go out on my own, she's always been very supportive of that. She
Yeah.
started some of her small businesses when I was young. So we've had entrepreneurs in our family. So yeah, she's always been very supportive as far as.
What about friends of yours?
So
Because you always have those people who are like, man, don't do that. Like,
Right.
that, yeah. How was it for you?
I think I've always had either friends that were equal or below.
Yeah.
So whenever I was adventurous into starting something, they would always follow me in what I did or ask questions. I don't think I've ever had anybody that would say, that's pretty stupid, or why would you do that? I take that back. None of my friends have said that. Of course, I've been in relationships where they're like, how come you don't go get a real job?
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Or that's a dumb idea for an event, or that's a dumb idea for a business.
Yeah.
Like, how are you really going to make money?
Yeah.
So, I think, I don't know if you've been in some of those
In the past.
Yeah, in the
Not
past.
now, but in the past.
Right, in the
Yeah.
past. That's what I'm saying. In the past, I've had some of those relationships, which kind of fueled the fire for me
Yeah.
into really pursuing what I feel would make me happy.
Yeah. Yeah. You get to, like, I've had it happen with a couple past relationships, and I'm like, fuck you. Like, like, you live a miserable life. Like,
Right.
you hate going to your job. You literally live
Right.
for Friday.
Right,
Right.
right,
And
right.
hate Sunday night because you know
Right.
Monday's coming.
Right.
Like, who are you to tell me? Right. It's just that's how I used to be, and now if anybody's like that, I actually try to think like, man, what mentally are they going through that causes them to lash out at me and think that, because most people are just scared.
Right.
And they just project that on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they just tell
Exactly.
you, you're never gonna do that. Well, that's a stupid idea, right? Because they're just scared. They're never gonna make anything of themselves,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I completely feel you on that. And, now I've started to surround myself with people who would be like, damn, that's an awesome idea.
Yeah.
Like, do you need help?
Yeah.
So, when I have those naysayers, I'm like, but you're missing an opportunity,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, if you don't want it, well, fuck it, I'm going to do it on my own.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I really appreciate you sharing with me, man. And what is the best way to people to get a hold of you if they want to get some more information about your business, Signscapes?
So we have a website, richmondsignscapes.com. You can go on there. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. We do have a Twitter, but I'm not too much on Twitter.
I don't think
but
anybody's
we're-
too much on Twitter, except for Trump. Other than that.
Right, exactly. But yeah, Instagram and Facebook, you guys can reach out to us as well.
Cool, very cool. And I'll actually, if you're watching this on YouTube, the link for the website and all the accounts will be in the description below. And then if you're watching the clip of this on Facebook or Instagram, then I'll still post in the comments or in the post the link to everything, right? So that's it. That's the end of the first episode.
before we close
yeah,
up-
please say something. Yeah.
So I appreciate you coming out to me. I
Yeah.
know when you first said something to me, I was like, man, this is a great idea to start off with, especially knowing what it started out with and what it's begun, or where it got to is now. I shouldn't say ended, because it hasn't ended.
No, we're
still on the
restarting,
journey.
yeah.
But to see, just starting out where the journey started and what the whole process was. So I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to
Absolutely,
voice
man.
to others what my experience was, and
Yeah,
how it was,
absolutely.
and how I've become what I feel is my success.
Yeah, and you've built an incredible business
Oh,
here.
thank you.
Yeah. It really... Yeah, you asked me before we turned the camera on, like, what is kind of the point of why you're doing this, how did it start or whatever, and how to come about. Really, for me, ultimately, the whole point of doing these podcasts is for people to realize that no matter what their influences are in their life, they actually can achieve whatever they want to
Right.
achieve, right? It sounds so damn cliche, but it's so true, right?
It is.
And really, all you have to do is just have a mindset shift, right?
Right.
You know, I'm ultimately trying to create a mindset movement built around people's dreams and going after the dreams. And everyone that I get on the show might not have a solidified dream, but hopefully they start to think like, okay, maybe this is a true possibility, right?
Right.
Yeah, very cool. With that, we are out, and we'll see you on the next episode. We're gonna start that over.
Okay.
Screw that up. All right, and with that, we will see you on the next episode of Dream Nation Podcast. See you guys. Dude, appreciate you, man.